Hello, I'm Bob Israel with USA Integrative Health and Wellness. Today we're going to demonstrate a recipe, roasted vegetable recipe with a sauce on it, a Romesco sauce. It's a very colorful dish. We're going to do it with cauliflower and broccoli, but it could be done with sweet potatoes and okra or Brussels sprouts. Really any combination of vegetables will do. We've done it with all those and others, and it's very good. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I cut cauliflower. And this probably isn't the only way, but it's the way I do it. And I'm going to just core it, which means sort of removing this inner core and the leaves. And indeed, I'll tell you that cauliflower leaves are actually really tasty too, but you don't really get them when you buy these at the store. You only get it if you buy it at a farmer's market. So we're just going to remove all these leaves, and then again we're going to take out a little more of the core. That's sort of a tough part of the cauliflower that's not really all that easy to incorporate into a meal, though I might use it for a stock, a vegetable stock. So as you see, I'm kind of cutting deep into this cauliflower and getting that core out, and then the rest of these leaves. I'm just going to get rid of this. And now I'm going to go in, you see these florets have their own little stalk, and I'm going to try to sort of remove them in pieces like that. And so I'll just sort of attack each floret. It won't be a perfect surgical event, but it's going to work. But now we're going to break these down to a little bit smaller size. Again, sort of following the natural shape of the floret, because we want to make them sort of a uniform size. The uniform size with the broccoli, that way they'll cook at sort of the same pace. And then for the broccoli, it's sort of the same approach. You just follow the floret and you cut the pieces off. The stem of the broccoli is really flavorful, but in this particular case, I don't want too much of the stem just because it sort of increases the bulk of the bite. And so I'm going to cut that off. I would use that in some other way. It's good roasted. It's also actually very good raw and in salads. So that's done, and now we're going to add 1/4 cup of olive oil, give or take a little bit, and some salt and pepper. And then this will go in a preheated oven at 425. And cook for about 20 to 25 minutes. We'd like for it to sort of get a little bit brown and a little bit crispy. If you have a convection oven, it's probably good to cook it on convection. You know, salt's really important to flavor, so don't scrimp on the salt. And then I'm just going to mix this up with my hands. It's the easiest way, and I can sort of tell when it's all coated this way as well. You see I'm doing this in a sheet pan that has parchment paper on it, which eases the cleanup after it goes in the oven. So there we go, and now we're just going to go to the oven. Okay, so now while the vegetables are roasting, we're going to make a Romesco sauce. A Romesco is probably a North African, Moroccan style sauce. It has literally a dozen or more different recipes. This one's extremely easy and all comes together in a blender, or in this case a Vitamix. It calls for roasted cashews, which is this, olive oil, ground coriander, cumin, smoked paprika, and these peppers, which are just pimento peppers, red peppers, that are already roasted and come in a jar. They're really very flavorful and very good for you. And again, we're eating our colors. So the first thing I'm going to do is take the skin off this garlic, and you don't have to be shy with your garlic. You can give it a good whack and then sort of pull the outer skin off, which is not particularly edible. I take off the little part at the bottom, and then we're going to put 2 cloves of garlic in this sauce. You could do more if you like garlic. I do love garlic, but I'm going to follow the recipe today, which is probably unusual for me. So we're going to put the garlic and the nuts in, and then we're actually going to pulse this before we add any of the other ingredients, and that allows these to get chopped a little bit better before we start. So you can see now we've got really a pretty fine chop. Now we're going to add everything else, which is a 1/4 of a cup of olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, the peppers, and you could do your own peppers if you want to roast your own peppers at home. This is just really easy and sort of makes it simple. That's the coriander, cumin, and I recommend you smell your herbs, sort of get to know what kind of flavor they're going to add. This is smoked paprika. Paprika comes in a lot of different forms: sweet paprika, smoked paprika. They all have a little bit of different flavor. You could do this with sweet or smoked. So now we're going to again pulse it, and we're going to add a little bit of aged sherry vinegar, a tablespoon or so. We may need a little more depending on how this grinds down. It may need more or less liquid. So that's aged sherry vinegar. So now I'm just going to get a little taste. Really good. It's about the consistency of mayonnaise. So that's going to be our sauce for this dish when the vegetables are ready. Oh, it looks good. We've got some browned edges, which is a good sign. And it looks like it's going to be nice and crisp. So now we're just going to transfer this to a hot pad. And then we'll transfer it to another dish and it'll be ready to serve. So now we're going to transfer this to the serving dish, which is not necessary. You could serve it straight from this tray. I had a class of medical students who were really artistic, and they lined up the broccoli in rows and the cauliflower in rows so there was a green and white striped flag, which they then poured the red sauce over. It was really pretty, but we're not going to be quite so artistic today. And you can pick up this paper and just pour it directly into the pan, which works pretty nicely. And we just want to sort of spread it out. And now, you see the color is really nice. And now we're going to apply the sauce. You could serve this on the side, particularly if you have someone with nut allergies. You don't want to have them eating this one because it's got cashews in it. This sauce will keep for several days in the refrigerator, like a week or so, and it's great over fish, it's great with chicken. It's kind of a do anything sauce. It's got a great sweet flavor, but the sherry vinegar makes it a little spicy as well. So there's your dish. Bon appetit.